sexy is the...
Welcome to Raw is Jericho!
The following announcement has been paid for by the New World Order.
Listen up, you blind slapnut. If I can be serious for a minute.
This is the Flex Network. This is the Flex Network. Flex on them. Flex on everybody.
The real reason I'm here tonight is because we are live!
We are NXT.
It's your time, folks! Sweet! A little bit of the bubbly.
The preceding announcement has been paid for by the New World Order.
For life.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all the ages, it is that time of the week again. It is another Thursday here on the Flex Network, which means it is time for this show to start for the SnowMan. Man, what a good week it's been. Hockey, NHL playoffs are in full swing. Round robin is in full swing for NHL. A lot of great games going on. Even still going on right now. It's going on in the Snow household. We got NBA, kicking back up, getting in the swing of things. We got MLS is down to the final four. I want to say, correct me if I'm wrong. Final four. Yeah. Well, getting close, but just a lot of things going on. It's a lot of happy, good times right now in this virus world right now. So we're taking it a little bit at a time, but you know how we do this before we go any further, because we are live. Yes, we are live here on Facebook. We are live on Twitter. We are live on YouTube here on the Flex Network for another week, another show of the Wrestling Week in Review view show here on the Flex Network. And it's beautiful as we talk about what is going down in the wrestling world so you can know and keep in the know as what is going on. Man, I scare myself sometimes, but nonetheless, it's a crazy week. I mean, there has been a lot of stuff going on, especially in the background noise. If you've not been paying attention, or if you just haven't been hearing, but we are going to run down what has been going on in the world of wrestling, and let's just get straight into it. Let's get straight into it with the news report. I'll keep that on the bottom half of the ticker for everyone to go follow here. But yeah, a lot of great things have been going on, a lot of crazy stuff. So let's get down to business. Big news coming out of not really wrestling, but a byproduct of wrestling, because earlier in the week, the Brahma Bull, yes, the Brahma Bull, the Rock, saved the XFL. Yeah. That little football league that Mr. McMahon decided, let's give it one more go. Let's give it another chance here. And it was doing good. It was doing great. It was doing good. And then the virus hit. And then we're done. Chop full, we're done. We're closing up shop. But guess what? The Rock and Redbird Capital have decided to purchase the league for $15 million. Literally $15 million to save the league. We don't know what their plans are and when it's coming back, but hopefully it'll be sometime after this virus is complete. And hopefully they're still going to be on Fox, ESPN, ABC. They're going to be still on the networks that they had their contracts fit, with, so that it's a still the same as before the whole damn virus literally destroyed everything in its wake. Backstage news from Monday's show for Raw. Apparently there is some chaos as the of how the show was being run with the crew from the top down. Literally, it was just totally unprepared craziness of what's been going on. Apparently the first tape episode that was going to be done on Monday was going to air on Monday. It was aired on Monday, and they were reportedly changing stuff on the fly. While the second episode, the next week's show, was still incomplete on Monday. There was a lot of lack of leadership, a lot of stress, being blamed on indecisiveness. Even with Vince at the tapings this past Monday, the mood was volatile and with the chaos and the indecisiveness. So a lot of crazy stuff happening on Raw, and we're gonna get to it. I know the big thing that was coming out of Monday Night Raw this week, literally just that craziness, but we'll get to it in a bit. The draft will be coming back in October. The WWE draft will be coming in October. So be ready for that. It'll be sometime in the month of October. So get ready for that. Rumor has it that the next PPV for WWE is not going to be not only going to be not within the next month, and it's going to, what we're hearing is it's going to be Payback. Payback's coming back, but it's not going to be within the next month. It's not even going to be within the next 4 weeks or 3 weeks or 2. It's going to be 7 days after SummerSlam, August 23rd, SummerSlam going down. And then 7 days later, at the end of the month, August 30th, we're hearing that Payback is coming on that week. How crazy is that? And yes, CG, bringing back Shane O'Mac, we're going to be talking about Raw in a little bit of that whole monstrosity. My boy Corey, one of my baseball boys, coaches at Everett Community College, right there, checking into the show. If you're hearing this later on the podcast, come out and join us on the live, video stream. We're every week on Thursdays, so come out and join us. And it's live and in beautiful color. But yeah, just 7 days. How crazy is that? That the thought is, at least rumored, that the next pay-per-view is going to be within 7 days after a pay-per-view. We're going from SummerSlam to Payback in, they're like literally 2 shows. A Raw and a SmackDown, and we're at the next pay-per-view. That's crazy. I understand the pandemic is a little, has thrown everything in cahoot, craziness and destructiveness and just crazy. But to have a pay-per-view 7 days later, I mean, there better be some things left undone, unsaid, things that need to continue from SummerSlam and the Raw and the SmackDown afterwards. But again, it's a rumor that it's stuff that's being tossed out that we're going to have a pay-per-view 7 days later. That is just my thought of what is going on. Of course, with everything going on in the virus world that we live in now with WWE, WWE has been coming up with several backup plans to film TV if they can no longer do it in Florida, with the virus being a hotspot down in Florida at the current time that this is going on. And then one of the ideas is to bring the show up to Stamford, Connecticut, up to WTV Studios near Stamford, If that happens, they won't have the NXT / Performance Center trainees as fans. But of course, with Florida being the Performance Center, home, and the fact that um, Florida governor wants WrestleMania back in the state, after especially with this year's calamity, and along with the governor supporting Trump and Linda McMahon pledging some money towards Florida. Yeah, WWE kind of has some pull to stay in the state of Florida if they wanted to. I mean, if it comes down to it, they have the pull to stay there and to do TV at the Performance Center. But that, again, it's just tucked away as a break in case of a desperate emergency if we get to that point. That is what's being, put out there for everybody. Of course, let's have a little good news. A little good news. Over this past weekend, some wrestlers gave some birth to some beautiful baby boys. Brie and Nikki Bella are new parents. Of course, Brie having her baby the beginning of the month on August 1st, and Nikki 24 hours earlier at the end of July have now are parents, and congratulations to you both. Congratulations to Dan Bryan to being a father again. It's some great news right there. Of course, we know that Sarah Logan is in the current running of pregnancy, so she will be coming down the line soon enough. And then of course Becky Lynch, December is when she's supposed to be expecting, so she's next up at least for those women in WWE to be expecting. So, but again, Craig, congratulations to Brie and Nikki Bella for your beautiful baby boys, and hope you enjoy being parents. Let's actually talk some AEW a little quick. AEW made a signing with Eddie Kingston, former member of Impact Wrestling's LAX, near the end, the run of that group, and / the OGs with the original members of LAX, Homicide and Hernandez, if you remember what was going on down there for a short time in Impact when they were, doing the New York shows a while ago. It was like a couple of years ago. But dude, he's a good pickup for AEW. I like him. He's cool. And then of course, All Out has been announced for next month. Literally, September 5th, 1 month from yesterday, will be AEW All Out, their next big PPV in AEW. Let's go. And then of course, Cody and QT Marshall are going to be opening a wrestling development camp, the Nightmare Factory, September 21st. It'll be a 3-month developmental camp with 25 male / female in Georgia, with 4 rings and an Olympic style weight room. So you're gonna, that's impressive that they're gonna this far into their creation of AEW that they're deciding, we're gonna do a wrestling camp. I hope it kind of looks like what WCW did back in the day with the power plant. That was cool. Out of that you got Goldberg, you had Sarge. I mean, Giant was in there at one time training, but just a lot of great wrestlers can come from camps, hopefully. But again, they're going to run that again, I believe, in January. So I have to double check on that. But that's going to be cool for them to start getting people through the AEW developmental area and to just create more people for them, as if they haven't been taking people from other companies at the point. But that's cool. That's cool. And then, of course, the big women's AEW Women's Tag Team Cup Tournament, the Deadly Draw. At this point, there has been 4 teams announced for the tournament, and we'll actually talk about in a smidge when we get to AEW. The 4 teams so far that we know of is the newly acquired talent from NXT, that lovely Brazilian, beauty, Tyra Conti, and Anna Jay are teaming. Evilise and Demonte is teaming. The Nightmare Sisters, Allie and Brandy Rhodes, their team. Nyla Rose, and the return of someone from WWE's past. You would recognize her as a member of the Funkadactyls, WWE Cameron, but now going by Ariane Andrew. So a lot, bringing back their AEW's been bringing some people back. Again, we're going to talk about it in a little bit with, you had this past week Bischoff. You had, Vicky Guerrero is coming back to manage. So a lot of things have been going on, but just a whole lot of great things been going on in the wrestling world. Very interesting. But that is going to be your, news for this week's show. That is going to be the news report for the week. So now let us get into what's been going on the TV side. Let's get into the TV world. What's been going on your TV? So for those of you who have not watched the show, let me just be clear. This is the spoiler alert. Here it comes. To let you know that this is the spoiler alert. Woo! That we're going to be talking about what's been going on TV. So if you have not been watching, just cover the ears. But we're going to be talking about what's been going on in the world of wrestling on TV. So let's get to it. Let's talk about what happened last week on the Blue brand SmackDown. And very interesting. Literally SmackDown last week, I could not tell you how interesting it was, especially at the end, but we're going to get to that in a smidge. Intercontinental Championship on the line. AJ Styles defending against Grand Metalik. That was an impressive match for Grand Metalik to get into the ring with AJ Styles and hang with the IC champ. But unfortunately, AJ Styles pulls out the victory, retains the Intercontinental Championship. Corbin was in action against Drew Gulak in one-on-one competition. Mr. Gulak had an impressive, match, but Corbin pulls out the victory. One-on-one opportunity for Big E as he's going on his singles run for now, taking on The Miz. And I'm still impressed with Big E and what he can do. I've always been impressed with him, but now with him getting a singles run, hopefully this will lead him to some great action and great things as he pulls out gets the victory on The Miz this week. Women's action, 2 sets of women's action we had. Naomi taking on Lacey Evans. Naomi picking up the victory on some, in a rivalry that I don't think anybody cares right now. And then main event for the night, Bayley defending the women's championship of the world against Nikki Cross one more time for good old time's sake here on SmackDown. And this was Nikki's best opportunity to get the title. Unfortunately, Bayley squeaks out the victory. Literally squeaks it out. And before we talk about what happened at the end, we had some interesting moments with during the show with Sonya Deville cutting Mandy's beautiful hair. The golden locks got cut by Mandy, or from Mandy's head. Sonya Deville, wow. I mean, I can understand, someone being pissed. I mean, you attack her, you try to break her down, and you think, oh yeah, what else does she have left, that is so important? Well, let's go after that beautiful, beautiful hair that she has. She clipped it. We haven't heard anything on Twitter or any social media events this week, or actually the last week. So she's been quiet, but hopefully we'll see her soon with some, and probably she'll even look better. So probably something that was supposed to be bad and ugly turned out to be good and probably beautiful. But then, of course, at the end of the women's title match, the main event, Nikki not having it with, her best friend, Alexa Bliss, just shoves her down, walks away. Alexa shocked. And then, of course, we get the power cutting out. And we have come out that Fiend and scared the poor girl in her tracks, just literally didn't move and just drew it out to where put the mandible claw on Alexa Bliss as we end the show for SmackDown. I actually love that segment. That segment was awesome because you never had ever would have expected Bray Wyatt, the Fiend, attacking the female roster, let alone Alexa Bliss. I mean, granted, we all know what, Alexa's friends with Braun. And just still, you never thought we would see that attack happen to Miss Bliss. We never thought we'd see that attack of Miss Bliss. But it did. And that was literally, if you saw our tweet, it was like, no! You attack the Bliss. Wow. All I know is Braun's going to get his vengeance on that. And Bliss better be, smiling like a Cheshire cat when that happens. But this coming week, we do know that the Firefly Funhouse, Bray will be back in the Firefly Funhouse tomorrow night on SmackDown. And that was our SmackDown recap of what happened this past week. So let's head on over to that red brand and talk some Monday Night Raw. And the big news coming out of Raw this past week, of course, was that Shane O'Mac, young Simba, is back in the show, back in the house, and he's got something new up his sleeve. And what we find out is it's Raw Underground, and it is Fight Club, I would say. Now, don't get me wrong. Seeing Shane O'Mac back, back in the show after, being gone since October of last year in that loser leaves match with KO on Fox. I'm kind of itching to see Shane O'Mac back. Shane O is one of the best ones I could, can see out there. I love him. He's one of my favorites out there. But to come back, and he comes back with a Fight Club feel. I mean, I understand, the mantra of, Fight Club. I mean, heck,
first rule of Fight Club is you do not talk about Fight Club. The second rule of Fight Club is you do not talk about Fight Club.
I mean, yeah. I mean, come on. I even knew that you don't talk about Fight Club, especially with Raw and Shane. But I mean, granted, it looked good to a point. I mean, the no ropes ring, the grunginess, in the back half of the performance center. You had Dolph get into a fight there. You had Eric from the Viking Raiders get into a fight. I mean, he literally tore it up there, just knocking this poor kid out. And then you had this big bohemian, literally just this big, I don't even know what to call him. I'm trying to find the name, exact name of what Shayna, what he was called. But this guy was a monster. And what he did on Raw was just, damn, just destroying people, or destroying this poor kid. And then it was just so destructive of this guy. I mean, literally. And wow, I couldn't believe it after just seeing what he did. I was impressed with him. Like hashtag Raw, just trying to find. What was his name? I'm like right there. Like, it's just trying to find the stuff. Oh, Dabakato. That's what's his name. That Dabakato. This guy was just a big old beast. And yeah, it was just crazy. And then at the end of the night, we get the Hurt Business, Lashley, MVP, and Shelton Benjamin just clean house, take over, and yeah, they're welcome back anytime. I mean, literally, it's their playground if they want to, because Hurt Business is booming. They're going to be delivering that. But yeah, that was Raw Underground. It was okay. I mean, it was interesting. It had some niche, but it kind of had the feel of, I mean, yeah, Fight Club, but it also kind of had the feel of the Brawl for All. If you guys do not remember or do not know about the Brawl for All, go back and watch. It was in '98. It was basically WWE trying to do, shoot fighting. Little inside, inside, word for you guys. Shoot, like live action, no restriction, like boxing, fighting in a tournament. And yeah, just go back and watch it. It was a very interesting time. I mean, they were trying something new. While it kind of didn't work, it did work, but it kind of didn't get the payoff that it wanted. I mean, a lot of the guys are getting knocked out, like legitimately getting knocked out, getting legitimately hurt. And of course, at the very end of this whole Brawl for All experience, we had Bart Gunn, a tag team champion, multi-time tag team champion with the Smoking Guns, winning the whole tournament. And his prize was to fight Butterbean at WrestleMania 15 in Philadelphia in '99. So yeah, I encourage you guys to go and check out the Brawl for All just to see what was going on. It was wow. But let's get on to what else was going on. MVP Apollo Crews US title match. The match we were supposed to get at SummerSlam, but we got it tonight on this past week's Raw. Apollo Crews picks up the victory, walks out with both the title he had, the OG US title for the WWE, and the new one that MVP got made that will now be the new US title. And after a while, during the show, MVP asked for his rematch, and he will get it at SummerSlam. So that should be good. I had to fix something. Tag team action after the KO show, reuniting the Riot Squad of Liv and Ruby Riot. So that was a great tag team right there. I'm glad that they're back, taking on the Iconics in tag team action, and the Riot Squad is back and better than ever as a tag team. Let's be clear. Riot Squad picks up the victory over the Iconics, so now we have a new, a once renewed tag team back in the women's tag team division. Hopefully, we'll see these two women in tag team gold down the line. Sasha Banks taking on Shayna Baszler one-on-one. Sasha picks up the victory. Actually, no one picks up the victory as. Actually, let me double check that. We'll get back to that moment in a smidge. But 24/7 title was on the line this past week. Triple threat match. Benjamin defending against R-Truth and Akira Tozawa for the 24/7 title. And the 24/7 rules were, suspended, where anyone and everyone could come down and interfere for this triple threat match. Once the triple threat match was over, the rules were back in effect. And unfortunately for Shelton Benjamin, he don't get to keep the 24/7 title because we have a new 24/7 champion again. And it's not R-Truth. It is Akira Tozawa picking up the 24/7 title and running. It's like, run, Akira, run. Just keep running. Have your ninjas help you. Even though they've been destroyed by the Hurt Business boys. It was bad. But new champ of that 24/7 championship. So that was fun to see. Good little match right there for the 24/7 title. Angel Garza taking on Angelo Dawkins. One-on-one opportunity for this new tag team this tag team has been solid now together, as both of them had singles matches. Garza and Andrade had to face Dawkins and Montez Ford in singles action back to back. Angel Garza picks up the victory on Dawkins, since Dawkins was distracted with his partner slipping on the floor, feeling a little woozy and having some bad effects, which kind of which led into the match that happened afterwards. As during the match with Andrade and Montez Ford, Montez feeling, froggy, feeling energetic, dives over the top rope, gets back of the ring, decides to warrior up, and he just collapses like a ton of bricks. Like, legitimately just done. They had to call the match. No winner, no loser. As he was taken to the back, a little while later, we find out that, he was poisoned. Yeah, Montez Ford, the cup was poisoned a little bit. Someone decided to mess with the man's drink. You don't want to mess with the man's drink, especially when it's supposed to be some good, especially when they want that smoke. But yeah, the way that they're going to go with it is that Montez is poisoned, and yeah, things got a little bit heated in the back with Bianca Belair wanting to go after Zelina. And yeah, you knew that when she took off her earrings, when Bianca was, take off the earrings, just it's like, oh, here we go. Get the popcorn ready. We're gonna have a good fight right here. Or at least try and have a good fight. But it was still good to see. But unfortunately, we're going to find out as this progresses down the line to see what the ramifications are going to be with who poisoned Montez Ford and his cup and his drink. So yeah, it's good. It should be very, very interesting to see. Sasha Banks taking on Shayna Baszler. Unfortunately, that match ended in DQ. That one was a toss-up. That was going to be looking like a good matchup, but unfortunately, ended in a DQ. So that was all the matches that happened. Also big notes from Raw. Nia Jax was suspended without pay, and literally took out a WWE official, an official that's represented, as management. So she gone for a little while. We don't know how long. The McIntyre and Orton match is still building up for SummerSlam. I'm loving it. They're getting even more into the past with these two, and just digging up some old stuff with these guys. Old interactions. But yeah, I'm actually looking forward to SummerSlam for the WWE Championship with these two. Should be fun. And we had Dominic Mysterio and Seth Rollins will go at it at SummerSlam after Dominic challenges Seth to a match. And after Seth and his little disciple Murphy tried to go after Tom Phillips, Samoa Joe backs him up. It's like, no, that ain't going to happen. And I want this to go down. Seth and Murphy get distracted in the ring, looking at Joe. Dominic comes out and just starts swinging like Griffey with the kendo stick. Or sorry, the Singapore King. He just comes out swinging like King Griffey Jr., just connecting on Seth and just delivering punishment after punishment. Granted, the kendo stick got shredded on the chair that Murphy was holding, but eventually we got to see 619 and just a beautiful dive from Dominic to both Murphy and Seth outside the ring, which was just too sweet. Gotta love that. Just too sweet. Just too sweet. And that match was made for SummerSlam. Next week on the Shizzo will be Asuka taking on Bayley. If Asuka wins, she will get a Raw Women's title match at SummerSlam. And next week, KO will take on Randy Orton 1-on-1. And that was your Monday Night Raw review. Before we talk about Dynamite and NXT for this past week, big news coming out of New Japan Pro Wrestling. Let me get my New Japan stuff up on the show. We just transported to New Japan Pro Wrestling. Big news as the Never 6-man tag team titles have been vacated. New Japan Pro Wrestling has declared that a tournament will be decided to how do I want to say this? To crown new Never 6-man tag team champions as the current IWGP Intercontinental and Heavyweight Champion, who's currently on Bullet Club, was also tagging with Chaos members, or sorry, not Chaos, Los Ingobernables de Japón, were, essentially broken up. Evil, the current champ, they decided we're going to vacate them and we're going to have a tournament, a mini tournament to determine new 6-man tag team champions. And earlier this morning, we had first round matchups. You can go and check that out on NewJapanProWrestlingWorld.com. Let's go sign up and go check it out. I believe you have to pay it's like $10 to go and check out basically WWE Network, $10. Go and check, you get access to their content. But Chaos taking on Bullet Club in the first round matchup. Chaos picking up the victory. Chaos members Sho, Okada, and Toru Yano picking up the victory over Tanahashi, Gato, and Yato in 6-man tag match. And then, of course, in the other first round matchup, it's a 2, 4, 6. It's an 8-man mini tournament. The other matchup from earlier this morning, Los Ingobernables Los Ingobernables de Japón, Shingo or Tagi and Sanada and Bushi taking on Zukangan. Cannot say these guys' name, these team names. It's just bleh. And we're getting checked in over here by our boys on the other side of the flip coin of the Flex Network, picking up with this, just checking in here. Our fantasy football brethren, our literally our brother over here, checking into the show on Twitter. Los Ingobernables de Japan, I cannot say the name, picks up the victory. They move on in the tournament on August the 8th in a semifinal match. Tomorrow morning, it'll be, later tonight / tomorrow morning for us here on the West Coast. Some more first round matchups. Tanahashi, Kota Ibushi, and Master Wato taking on the other members of Sukigun, Zack Sabre Jr., Kinaramono, and Tachi in 6-man tag match. And of course, on the other side, the other 3 members of Chaos will take on Togi Maccabee and Tomokai Homonai, I believe I said it right, and Rushiki Tagji in the other half of the bracket to determine new 6-man tag champs. And then, of course, the winners of that match will go on to August 8th semifinals, and the winners of the 2 semifinal matches will go on to August 9th in a final tournament match to declare new champions. Also, New Japan has set up another New Japan Cup USA tournament, an 8-man number 1 contenders tournament for the US title that currently Moxley has. Yeah, I'm flexing here. Yeah, get that flexing here from my boys across the network here. First round matchups. You could go and check out on New Japan Strong. It's also on NewJapanWorld.com, 7 p.m. Tomorrow, or 7 Pacific tomorrow. Carl Fredrickson taking on Kenta. Jeff Cobb taking on Tangaloa. David Finlay taking on Chase Owens. And Brody King taking on, I think I got the last part wrong. Let me double check I want to say I got the bracket part wrong. Okay. Yeah, Tamatonga. Tamatonga is in the tournament too. So basically, we got members of Bullet Club, we got Gorillas of Destiny in this tournament, and of course, the winner of this tournament, this 8-man tournament, will get a number 1 contenders opportunity against Moxley for the U.S. title down the line. Should be interesting. Should be fun to see. But that was what's going on in New Japan World. So let's switch on back over here to the American side. Let's talk AEW. Let's talk a little AEW about what happened this past week. And of course, let's try to figure out what I want to start with. Actually, let's start with this. There's going to be some TV changes, so heads up for anyone that's going to be catching Dynamite in the coming weeks, near the end of the month. So make sure you guys mark this on your calendars. We'll remind you, next couple weeks. But actually, we'll remind you next week because on August 19th, Dynamite will be moving over to the 22nd. 3 p.m. Pacific for us here on the West Coast, 6 p.m. Eastern on Saturday the 22nd for basketball on TNT. So some things are going to be changing up here for the next for 3 weeks. For 2 straight weeks, and then come September there'll be another one, but I'll just cover it right now. And again, next week. So the 19th will be moved, or the 19th episode of Dynamite will be moved to Saturday the 22nd, and then the 26th episode, August 26th, is going to be moved to the next night on Thursday. So that is going to be interesting to see for Dynamite. And then, of course, September 16th, it will be moved to the next night. Of course, both shows at 8 p.m. Eastern Pacific time. So make sure you remember that because basketball playoffs will be going on NBA on TNT. So if you try to watch, wrestling, get your wrestling content there on Wednesday besides NXT. If you're looking to flip channels between those two, the only thing you're going to be seeing is wrestling and basketball. So gotta get, you'll be able to get it on Thursday. You just gotta wait another day for those for 2 weeks. On the 26th and September 16th. But the August 19th one that's going to be moved to the 22nd, that's going to lead into TakeOver 30. So that was going to be a little bit harder to decide. Like, do you want to watch actually you'll probably watch some Dynamite, and then as it leads straight into TakeOver at weekend, or SummerSlam weekend with TakeOver 30 that night. Dynamite and the we had the AEW Women's Tag Team Tournament going on, and that one is on YouTube on Monday. So you can go and check out some female wrestling content for AEW, the Tag Team Tournament, the Deadly Draw on Mondays on their channel. And this past week's contests were, let me get my notes over here. Was Brandy Rhodes and Allie, the Nightmare Sisters, taking on Penelope Ford and Mel in a first round matchup. Brandy and Allie pick up the victory. It was a good match. It was a real good match. I liked it. And then Anna Jay and Tay Conti, the lovely Brazilian from NXT, taking on Nyla Rose, and the return of Cameron from WWE. I'm not going to try to say her name again because I would frick it up. But they lose. Anna Jay and Tana Conti pick up the victory. They move on to the next round. We don't know who else is going to be in the tournament as the draws happen on the show as itself. So we will find out who is going to be in the tournament next Monday. So go ahead and check that out on their YouTube page for AEW to find out who is going to move on in the tournament and who's going to be in the tournament. This past week's Dynamite episode, this week's Dynamite show, we had Dark Order take on the Elite and FTR in a big 10-man tag, or sorry, 12-man tag match, and it was big. And unfortunately for the Elite and FTR, they do not pick up the victory. Dark Order wins the big 12-man match to kick off the show. Tag team match, Best Friends taking on Santana and Ortiz. Best Friends picking up the victory over the Inner Circle members. That was interesting to see. But afterwards, it was not so fun for the Best Friends because Santana and Ortiz destroyed Trent's minivan that belongs to his mother. So, yeah, it was not good. Cody and Matt Cardona take in his first match here on Dynamite. The former woo, you know it, Zack Ryder in tag team matching with the TNT champion, taking on Alex Reynolds and John Silver of Dark Order. And they make a good team. I gotta give it that. They make a great team as Matt and Cody pick up the victory. And not immediately afterwards, Cody's getting challenged by where's my notes? Oh, by Scorpio Sky for the title, the TNT title. Next week, and we'll talk about that in a small second. Big Swole taking on Reba, and not Reba McIntyre. That not who you're thinking, but Reba, Britt Baker's assistant, little bodyguard. That's right there. That's how I wanted to say it. Her little assistant getting destroyed by Big Swole. And then, of course, your main event of the night. Mox taking on Darby Allin, AEW World title on the line. And this was a brutal match. I mean, it was a hella good match. You know, the way it closed out the show. Mox picks up the victory. Darby put up one hell of a fight. We also had a debate between Jericho and Orange Cassidy, and Eric Bischoff was the moderator. He was back on TNT for the first time in 20 years. Last time he was on TNT was for WCW Monday Nitro. How's that? You know, in the summer. Back then, long time ago. And that was when the ship was going down with Russo and Bischoff at the helm. So yeah, it's been a long time for Eric Bischoff to be back on TNT. But yeah, it was fun to see. Cassidy wins the debate with a very interesting answer with global warming. So, and that one stunned and dumbfounded Jericho, which was funny to see. Next week on the program for Dynamite, we're going to have Tag Team Appreciation Night. The tag titles will be on the line. Kenny Omega and Hangman Page will take on Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus for the tag titles. The TNT titles the TNT title will be on the line. Cody Rhodes taking on Scorpio Sky. The Dark Order will take on the Young Bucks in tag team match. And then Chris Jericho, Orange Cassidy, one-on-one, the rematch, and a 7K obligation match. So it should be a Dynamite show next week on Dynamite. that was AEW. Let's quickly head on over and talk about that black and gold brand, that NXT, as we're building for NXT TakeOver 30 SummerSlam weekend. And we're going to talk a little bit about that as we get closer to the end of this show for the week. Dakota Kai, Rhea Ripley, number one contenders match for the NXT women's title. Opportunity right here for these two women. This was a toss-up. Either one would have been a great representation or a great opportunity for the title opportunity. And Dakota Kai or Rhea Ripley would have had a great match with Io Shirai one-on-one at TakeOver 30. But unfortunately for Rhea, thanks to Mercedes Martinez attacking and causing her to, lose focus, Dakota Kai picks up the victory, moves on, and will take on Io Shirai at TakeOver 30, which we'll talk about in a small bit. And obviously, this, Mercedes attacking Rhea is obviously the sign of things are not done yet with the Robert Stone brand and Rhea Ripley. Bronson Reed taking on Shane Thor. Shane Thor has been moved back down to the NXT from Raw, so it's good to see him back. Reed picks up the victory over Shane Thor. Damian Priest, Ridge Hollanday, and Oni Larkin in a North American title qualifying match, North American Championship ladder qualifying match, triple threat match on this night. Damian Priest picks up the victory. He qualifies for the he qualifies for the ladder match at TakeOver 30. And some big news out of that for that match, that Dexter Lumis is out of TakeOver 30. He will not be in the ladder match to determine the new NXT North American champion. He is out with an ankle injury. So William Regal has decreed that in 2 weeks' time, there will be 2 one-on-one matches with the men who were not pinned or submitted in the triple threat matches, in the qualifying matches. So Johnny Gargano, Finn Balor, Ridge Hollanday, and whoever is not pinned or submitted in next week's triple threat qualifier match with Kushida, Cameron Grimes, and a mystery opponent. Whoever does not get pinned or submits will be part of a one-on-one matchup in 2 weeks to determine the final slot for TakeOver 30's ladder match. So a lot of things going down. Tegan Knox picking up a victory over Indy Hartwell. It was a good match. I love seeing Tegan. I really hope she gets an NXT women's title or championship, very soon. She needs, she's a hella good wrestler. I want to see her in that, title match one-on-one and obviously win. And then, of course, your main event, NXT tag team titles on the line. Imperium's Marcel Barthel and Fabian Anarcher taking on Kyle O'Reilly, Bobby Oath, and Bobby Fish right there. Tag team titles on the line. And Pat McAfee sitting at ringside doing commentary for this match. Backstory with this is that a couple weeks ago, Adam Cole was on Pat McAfee's show. They got into it a little bit where they were chit-chatting. Adam Cole gets upset. He tears the place apart a little bit, just a small smidge. On his way out, things go a little testy. This week, they apparently made up, Kiss and made up on Twitter and at the show. McAfee stayed, came out for commentary for the tag team title show or matchup, and things got even more testy as Adam Cole was a little distracted with what Pat McAfee said. Was starting to get into it. This caused Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish to get distracted, and Imperium capitalized and walks out as tag team champions, retaining. But that was not it. That was not it for that, little area. As Pat McAfee, as he was getting escorted out, comes back. Adam Cole, still blaming him, obviously for what happened with Fish and O'Reilly getting, not winning. Comes back to, sets off Adam Cole, telling him that he will still be a little bitch. And Cole gets heated, climbs on the table, gets tripped up a little bit on the table, lays flat down. And Pat McAfee, the retired punt kicker, I want to say place kicker, I'm gonna regret saying, getting this wrong. Literally, if I get this wrong, I know he's a kicker. I'm gonna get it wrong. Place kicker, thank you. Place kicker for the Colts, and he just comes running in and place kicked Adam Cole square in the head, and that kick is going, and it's good to the uprights. For my brothers over there at the Flex Network, for my fantasy football side, brethren, he'll be checked in and see that. But yeah, Pat McAfee kicked that one far. And Adam Cole's head still hasn't come down yet after that kick. And that is going to be very interesting, as Triple H has decided, or not really decided, but has kind of challenged Pat McAfee to come to NXT 30 and challenge Adam Cole for a match at TakeOver 30. So that is going to be awesome, very interesting to see. We're waiting on Pat McAfee to respond to Triple H's request / challenge for Adam Cole. But it's going to be very interesting to see. But next week on the show, on NXT, we're going to see Damian Priest, Bronson Reed, the two members who have already qualified for the ladder match, go one-on-one. Karrion Kross will take on Danny Burch. And then, of course, a triple threat qualifying match for the ladder match at TakeOver 30 for the North American title. Kushida, Cameron Grimes, and a mystery opponent. So that's going to be fun to see next week on NXT TV, leading up to TakeOver 30 in a few weeks. Whew. I think I got all my normal stuff done for the week. So let's backtrack. NXT, AEW, New Japan, Raw, SmackDown, the news. Oh, let's actually talk a little bit about what's going on coming up, what we know for SummerSlam and NXT TakeOver. Actually, TakeOver 30, the theme has been announced for TakeOver 30, and it is freaking awesome. You guys need to go out and get this track. It is Metallica, Moth Into the Flame. This is a freaking good track, guys. It literally, if you want this thing to be loud, then for TakeOver 30, you want something loud, you get Metallica, because this track's banging. I'm not going to play it on here because we've been hit with copyright strikes before, and I don't need that again. I don't need it. It's bad. But go out and check it out. It's hella good if you are a Metallica fan. They've done some great tracks for WWE in the past before. It is awesome. But still, here's what we know for TakeOver 30. Bronson Reed, Damian Priest are two of the members that are going to qualify that have already qualified for the ladder match at TakeOver for the North American title. We're still waiting on the winner of Grimes, the mystery opponent, and Kushida. And we're also waiting on who's going to be joining them, Gargano, Finn, Ridge Holiday, or whoever doesn't get pinned next week. We'll get in a one-on-one match. And then, of course, the women's title's on the line. Io Shirai, Dakota Kai, women's title, one-on-one at TakeOver. And then, of course, SummerSlam, we know that will be the Profits taking on Andrade and Angel Garza for the Raw Tag Team titles. McIntyre, Orton, WWE Championship match. Apollo Crews, MVP, U.S. title. And then, of course, Dominic Mysterio will take on Seth Rollins one-on-one. And that is what we know so far for the biggest party of the summer weekend of TakeOver and SummerSlam. But I believe that's going to be it for this week's show. Before we head out, I need to plug something for y'all. Because you know our boy here on the Flex Network, Flex Matt, my boy, is working with 5cc Wrestling, and he's been doing a little bracket rundown for you guys. He's been helping them do a little tournament, Scornucopia, with 5C, it's 5cc Wrestling Scornucopia promo tournament. And they're going to have another episode this Saturday. I mean, it's not live, but go out and check it. It's on their YouTube channel, 5cc Wrestling. And it's awesome, guys. If you want to see some good promos from indie guys, they're just going to cut some hella good promos for you guys. It's a tournament, so you guys get to vote and decide who the winner of this tournament is. It is a big tournament. Okay, guys? It is a big old tournament. If they posted a lovely bracket, I would bring that up for you guys. Just seeing if there's something. Oh, I found it. So I will show this to you guys. So give me one moment. I will have the tournament, obviously it's not been updated, but things have been happening. But of course, go on, it's a big old tournament and it's a $500 grand prize. You guys get to decide the winner. So go on, check out the promos. Go and check out 5cc Wrestling and Scornucopia for Promo Wars and decide who gets to move on in this tournament. Had to plug that for my boy, Flex Matt, who just comes up and goes, what the here for you guys on the Flex Network to go and check that out. But yes, that is going to be it for me and this week's Shizzo here on the Flex Network. I need to go through obviously now I need to go through my normal spiel, which is down here at the ticker. If you want, or you actually not even want, you should be following us at, especially on Twitter. You should be following us at the Flex Network 1 for your football and fantasy football needs. And of course, you should be following, liking, subscribing to this side of the world, the wrestling side, at FlexNet_PW. Elite on Twitter. But you should also be liking us on Facebook, sharing us, liking us, and of course, following us and subscribe to us on YouTube. We are everywhere. We're on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. And of course, this episode will be on our podcast, on Apple, on Spotify. If it's not there on a platform that you listen to, let us know. We will get there so we can flex on them, and you can continue to take us with you wherever you go to listen to this and all of our other lovely content with the fantasy football side of the world. But that is truly going to be it for me, for myself, the SnowMan. This has been another week of the Wrestling Week in Review show here on the Flex Network, and we will see you next week on this road to SummerSlam and TakeOver 30. Peace!
This is the Flex Network. This is the Flex Network. Flex on them. Flex on everybody. This is the Flex Network. Yeah. Flex on G.
The preceding announcement has been paid for by the New World Order.